What in the 20s is going
in the
on?
20s
Think about
here.
the 20s.
The 20s,
What
baby.
Plenty. What in the 20s is
I
going
am
on?
here for my 20s, baby.
This is the 20s.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Zamam Kize, and this is What's in the 20s, a podcast where you listen to me grow through it, baby. On today's episode, let me explain actually how it all came about, right? I think I get a lot of questions asking me, what is love? What is the right partner? What is the difference between compatibility, chemistry, all of that kind of stuff? And it's like, I think we all get so consumed and excited to talk about finding the right one and what that would feel like for you, what that would look like for you. And I think I'm going to start with talking to you about the wrong one, right? I think that is essentially what this episode is about. The wrong one, the wrong love, the wrong person. And I think very often we entertain and occupy the wrong love, the wrong person far too long, hoping we can convert them into being our soulmates, hoping we can convert them and convince them into being the love of our lives, hoping we can manipulate them into, spending the rest of their lives with us and all the rest. And it's like, it gets really tense. Sometimes we'll be praying to God, asking him to bless this relationship we're in, when he had nothing to do with it to begin with, to do with the joining of it and all the rest. It's like, it can get really, really tense, right? It's like when we convince ourselves that we are in love with the wrong person. To begin, I would say the wrong person doesn't make you feel valued. And I think that's something we pick up very early on, very quickly, is that we don't feel respected, based on their actions, the things that they do, the things that they may say and all the rest. And it's like, if you value me, then why would you treat me like that? Why would you neglect me like that? Why would you be comfortable treating me in ways that make me feel like you don't care about me, right? And it's simply because the value that they have placed in their mind of who you are to them isn't what fulfills you. And I think that it's really sad because your efforts will not be appreciated, right? The things that you do will not be taken into like oh my gosh, wow, I'm so grateful that you did this. There's a lack of gratitude for the things that you do. And I think very often when we can feel that this person either pulling away or not saying anything about what we do and all the rest, we tend to do more, right? Thinking if I just do more, do bigger, do better, whatever it is, then they will see it, then they will choose me, then they will love me, then they will want me. But doing more of something that someone doesn't value doesn't make them appreciate you more. Doing more of that thing that they don't care about doesn't make them want you more. It just takes from you even more. It leaves you with so much more disappointment, so much more resentment, heartache, just sadness, right? Because it's just like, I'm giving you everything. I'm doing everything for you. I'm like extending myself in all these ways. But if they couldn't even like appreciate you to begin with, there's nothing, there's no grand gesture that will come out from you that will make them think or feel differently about you. And I think that can really mess with I think that could really mess with us because we always think that if someone did these things for me, I would have appreciated, I would have done this, I would have done, we keep trying to put, if, we say like, if I was in your shoes and I was receiving the treatment that I give you, like things would be so different. And we give them more of what we think, of what we want, essentially, from a partner, right? And it's like, maybe that's just, and I don't even want to say that's not what they want, but maybe it can get as deep as saying that's not what they want from you. And they won't recognize your sacrifices or your contributions to the relationship, the things like the extra mile you're willing to go. They'll just see it as just things that you're doing. They're going to think this is just the type of person that you are. They're just thinking that you're just extending yourself in a normal way. Whereas for you, you're making grand gestures and sacrificing things that are important to you in your life, and all the rest in hopes to maybe spend more time with the person, get them a gift, do something for them to make them feel happy, joyous, whatever it is. And for them, it's just that it's not that it's not that big of a deal because they don't value you anyways to begin with. And I think that is such a it can, over time, it can build such a nasty feeling inside of you. And it's like I said, it's so heartbreaking because you essentially are giving so much of your resources, your positive resources, to the wrong person, and you end up thinking that there's something wrong with you, right? If this person can't recognize the things that you're doing over time, it makes you feel like you are inadequate, and which leads me to my next point: the wrong person will not make you feel secure. That feeling of instability with someone is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Feeling unstable, that fear of you don't know. Every day it's rocky. You don't know if it's safe today or not. You don't know if they're coming or they're going. You don't know if they're staying or they're leaving. You don't know if you saying this thing will be the thing that tips them off and just goes, you know what, I'm done with this. That feeling of just, you don't know what's going on. You're living in constant fear, constant anxiety. Just this, you just don't know like where this person is at, what they're doing. They lack communication skills. They lack consistency. They lack commitment. They like it's just, there's a lot of things that's going on that is making you feel insecure in your relationship with that person. They can say things and do things that amplify your insecurities, right? Bring you in spaces that really just shine a light on the things that you're insecure about, whether it's physically or emotionally. Maybe they're constantly mentioning something about you that makes you feel really a certain way about yourself, doesn't make you feel so good about yourself. Maybe they're constantly just saying negative things about you, or constantly bringing out the worst in you, or mentioning things about you that aren't nice, and they play it off like it's a joke. They play it off like we're just playing, or you can't take a joke. Ooh. They'll, like they have this thing where it almost feels like they secretly hate you or something, like your presence and your existence is annoying to them, like you're irritating, like you are just a lot, whereas you're not even doing enough. You're not even doing much, but it's like they can't handle that, and that's the thing. Sometimes your light can be so bright that someone who is constantly consumed by their own darkness, it's too much to receive that. And you will start thinking that there's something wrong with you, right? You will start internalizing that I'm the issue, I'm the problem, I'm not good enough, I'm inadequate, I'm, whatever words that we may say to ourselves. But it's just that someone who is just in their own head about their own things doesn't know how to exist in your light and theirs too. It feels like there's only space for one light to shine, and it needs to be them. There's only space for, one person's needs to be fulfilled, and it needs to be theirs. There's only space for one person's feelings to be heard. Sometimes you may feel like you need to say what you're feeling, what you're thinking and stuff, and they just kind of shut you down. Shut you down and say things like you're being dramatic, you're being this, they have these words that it hurts. These words that make you feel like maybe I am crazy, maybe I am doing too much, maybe I am expecting too much, maybe I am just like being inconsiderate and all the rest. Let me tell you, they will not take your feelings into consideration. And that's going to be a tough thing to sit with, right? Because all you're doing is constantly thinking about how what you do, what you say, what you think, and all the rest makes that person feel, because you're really feeling unstable, in the relationship. You're really feeling unvalued and all the rest. And so now you're trying to think of ways to just make things better, exciting, fulfilling, and all the rest, but they're not doing that. And that is my third point of the wrong person does not make you a priority. When it comes to their time management, they somehow always have time for everything else but you. It's always time to be with the friends. It's always time to be at work. It's always time to be with family, always time to do every single thing. Take care of the neighbor's cats, take care of Mang Mang's dogs, trees, who knows what, and it's just like, it will never be you at the forefront of their mind as to how can they show up for you, because every time they feel like they might have to make a compromise, it feels like a sacrifice to them. It feels like you're being inconsiderate for making them have to compromise on something that is important to you, and dealing with someone who will not make you a priority will always hurt, because now you're in a place where you're obsessively thinking about them and how to make them happy and how to please them and make this relationship work and all the rest. And they're in a place of like, how can I get far away from this person but still receive the benefits of being with this person, but make sure I don't lose this person, do just enough to keep them, all the rest. But like, also it's such a weird thing that they're doing, it's like a mind game, a mind trick. And it's really hard when you're in it, right? When you're on the receiving end of it, because I don't think we can always just point out when it's like happening to us. So like right in your face, right? I think that very often people like this have a way of communicating to you that makes it seem like they care about you, that makes it seem like they're the only person that will care this deeply, this fondly, and all the rest for you. They have a way of showing you some vulnerabilities to them that manipulate you into thinking that you should have more compassion and more understanding. And let me go into that a bit. Someone can talk to you about their past traumas, things that have happened to them that have made them this way, things that have happened to them as a child and all the rest. Certain, I don't know, I guess neglect or abuse or whatever the case it is that has made them such a complex being as an adult. And because of that, we take that in and we now say we need to show more understanding, more compassion, more empathy, more grace for this person because of what they've been through. But someone's past is not an excuse to treat you like you are undeserving of a soft landing. Someone's past is not an excuse to treat you like you're not good enough. Someone's past is not an excuse to treat you like you are inadequate. Someone's past is not an excuse to treat you like you don't deserve the world, like you don't deserve abundant love, abundant understanding and grace and love and care and kindness and joy and all of that kind of stuff. I think that very often people weaponize their pain and their triggers and their traumas and their past and stuff like that, and they expect you to just get with it, to accept that this is who I am, when they should be making a concerted effort to be better, a concerted effort to treat you the way that you deserve, instead of saying things like, oh, I don't deserve you, but you know what, let's just be together anyways, or whatever it is, and it's like I said, it's such a mind game, because sometimes they'll say how good you are, how great you are, how much you are really just maybe perhaps the best thing that's happened to them. And that's the thing, it's like, that's the manipulation element I'm talking about, right? It's like saying really intense things, like you're my only source of joy and happiness or whatever, and still treating you really, really terribly, right? It's like this duality. And I think it's like, it's that thing of saying these words out of fear because they don't want to lose you, right? And it's just, we feel sorry for them, we are good people, right? And so we feel like it's not the right thing to do to let them go. We don't want to be another thing in their life that has abandoned them. We don't want to be another thing in their life that has walked away from them, that has, so we feel like it is our duty, our responsibility to go the extra mile, to care more and stuff like that. But like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. The wrong person, they will keep making you feed into this loop and this cycle of feeling terrible about yourself, of feeling like you're in a place where you're stuck and you can't leave and all the rest. And it's really, it's honestly, it's such a messy situation. They'll never provide you with full answers. They'll never, and maybe it's because they're not honest with themselves also. So how do you expect someone who doesn't even know how to be real with themselves about what's going on? Because you'll find they're constantly contradicting themselves. Oh my goodness, the wrong person will constantly, backslide and flip flop and this and that, because they're working towards answers that are convenient for them. They're working towards creating a lifestyle that is convenient for them, not for the relationship, not for you. Because again, as I'm saying, you're not the priority. You can't be, and they'll tell you things like, oh, why can't you be understanding? I've got so much on my plates. Why can't you see? I'm so busy with this. Why? Like as if you're the problem, And that's the thing. It's like you're going to constantly feel like you need to find how to fit into this person's life, because they just keep reshuffling you everywhere else, but as like, what you want to be in their life. And yeah, I think I want to highlight it under those 3 points, is that you're not a priority. The wrong person doesn't make you feel secure, and the wrong person doesn't make you feel valued. And if you are feeling these like attributes and all the rest, and where you're at, you need to start thinking like, would the right love make me feel this way? Would the right love treat me like this? Would the right love consistently put me in a place that makes me feel like I am at a deficit, like I am inadequate, like I'm going crazy, like I'm losing my mind, and like I have to lose so many parts of myself just to get a fraction of what they're able to give me, of the capacity that they're willing to share with me. It's a really dicey road to like walk on. But let me tell you something: the right person will teach you what you will never accept again. And I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Hold on. The wrong person will teach you what you will never accept again, because you will go through so much to and fro with this wrong person, that I think that it will reveal so many dark sides of yourself, so many versions of yourself that you do not want to entertain ever again. At least that's what the wrong people in my life have taught me, whether it was friends, romantically, whatever it is. It taught me the version of me I will never be again. The version of me I will never accept again. The version of relationships and what we do in relationships and how we talk to each other, communicate, deal with conflict and resolve and all of that. Like, the wrong people have played such an intricate role in my life in terms of teaching me where it ends, like where it stops. And in those ways, it's built me into being just so much more available for myself. The wrong people have brought me back to me in crazy ways, because it took me being at my lowest points and all the rest to realize, how much I needed to show up for me and take care of me, to realize how great I really am, because that's the thing. It's like when you're in the wrong situations with the wrong people, you see how much you can love, you can see how much you can give, how much you're willing to do, how much, all of that. And you realize actually you're a really cool person. Actually, you're someone who is so sensitive and so understanding of people. You have so much grace, so much, you see all these really great qualities that are highlighted, that will be so lovely if you're able to have the opportunity to pour that into the right love, into the right person, the right people, environments and spaces. And it takes the wrong people to cultivate that out of you sometimes. At least that has been my experience, is the wrong people ironically have somehow brought out a self-love in me that has honestly saved me time and time again, because it's like you get to a point when you realize, I don't want this anymore. This is not how my story is going to be. This is not how my understanding of love is going to be, my understanding of friendship is going to be, and all the rest. It's like it takes the wrong people to really get you to the depths of those sides, to say that I don't not going to be insecure like this anymore. I'm not going to talk down on myself like this anymore. I'm not good. Like it stops, you know? And I think it's that kind of, not to say that we deserve the wrong love. Like, no, not that at all. I'm just saying that sometimes we can learn a lot from being with the wrong people. You know, we can learn a lot about others, you know, and how people see themselves because of the ways that they'll project their issues and their insecurities and all the rest onto you and make you feel like you're the problem and make you feel like there's something wrong with you and gaslight you into so many different feelings, thoughts and emotions. And it takes the wrong love to reveal that, you know, and it takes the right love to tell you that you can put that side of you down. You can put that side of you away. And the right love for me was the one that I found with myself after coming out of situations like that, you know, that have costed me so much. You know, when you just think back to a situation where you did something and you're just like, why did I do that? And it takes like really showing up for yourself to look at those situations and just be like, never again, you know, and it's so healing, you know, to come out on the other side of it. It's so therapeutic to build yourself up again from loves that could have destroyed you, from loves that were designed to break you, from loves that were designed to just ruin your life. And to make the decision to actually build yourself up again, you know, to pour all that love that you were willing to pour into that person and that situation into yourself. I think it's so nice because all that time that you had spent investing in the wrong kind of love, it's like it just all goes back into you, you know, all the efforts, the money, this and that, like it's great, you know, building back up that relationship with yourself, because that's the thing, when you're so caught up in the wrong love, it destroys the relationship you have with yourself. It confuses you so much that you start doubting your own judgment. You know, you start doubting, did I really see that? You know, the way that someone may gaslight you and all the rest, you're thinking, oh, you know, maybe I'm mistaken, maybe I'm this, maybe, you know, we make so many excuses to protect the other person. Oh my God. And it's just like, you just get to a point where you're not that person anymore. And it's such a relief when you're able to stand up for yourself and say, like, you know what, I look forward to just walking away from all the loves. I mean, and not all the wrong loves were a waste, as I'm saying. It's like it takes sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it takes the wrong love to really expose just how extraordinary you are and how amazing your love is and how amazing it is to receive your love, and that it should be going into the right direction, into the right people, the right spaces. And you know, we'll talk another time about, you know, what it feels like to be in the right kind of love with the right kind of people. But I think that, yeah, if you're feeling these three things, you know, like you're not a priority, like you're not secure, like you are not valued, I would suggest that perhaps you're entertaining the wrong love for a little too long, and perhaps you do not need to stay there any longer. As always, I'm sending my love. Goodbye.
What in the 20s is going
In the
on
20s
here?
here.
The 20s,
What
baby.
happened
In
in
the
the
20s.
What in the 20s is
I
going
am
on?
here for my 20s, baby. This is the 20s.